Hey, Kyle, it's wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's WWE Main Event from July 2022, and it was recorded before Raw this week on July 18 in Tampa, Florida. So the first match tonight is a rivalry match. It's Akira Tozawa versus Reggie. Tozawa and Reggie have been feuding over the 24/7 title pretty much for a full year now. Reggie has the advantage in their singles matches, 2 wins for Reggie, 0 for Tazawa. They've also had 4 mixed tag matches that included Dana Brooke and Tamina. Reggie has the advantage in those matches as well with 3-1. We saw Reggie on Raw cause absolute havoc and chaos in the 6 women's tag match. Reggie sparked a fire that caused 6 different 24/7 title changes in about a minute. Reggie failed to get any of those quick title reigns, but Tozawa did have it for a few seconds. Dana Brooke eventually won the 24/7 title back at the end of a flurry of title changes, and just pretty much leaving us back to where we were at the beginning. That's kind of funny. So anyway, Tozawa comes into this match having only won one match out of 15. He's 1-14 in all of 2022. That one win was teaming with Tamina to beat Reggie and Dana Brooke. So Reggie comes into this match 3-13 in 2022. Not much better for Reggie. So one of them's guaranteed. Well, I guess there could be a double count out, but one was guaranteed the win here. Reggie comes out first in all blue. He does this really big leap into the ring that always looks cool. Tozawa out next. The crowd definitely cheered louder for Reggie. We see Tazawa was acting kind of like a heel in last week. If you remember on Main Event, Tazawa lost to Mustafa Ali last week on Main Event and was acting like a heel. So the crowd probably saw that or something. Reggie then tries to go behind right at the beginning here, but Tazawa captures the arm into an armbar. Reggie counters out of this, but Tozawa counters back, and then Reggie shows off some of his really good flips to get out of it. So the crowd's now chanting Reggie, Reggie, and then they try some roll-ups looking for a quick win. But Reggie hits his shoulder tackle. They're about the same size. That's about the only person on the roster Reggie would be able to hit a shoulder tackle on. Then Reggie flips over Tozawa, but it wasn't an offensive move. It was just a flip. So Tozawa says, I can do that too. Does some cartwheels, but then falls on a flip or whatever. So Tozawa gets up and hits a couple forearms, but Reggie flips again to evade attacks. And Reggie hits a really nice looking running, flipping leg drop for a 2 count. That looked really awesome. Reggie then goes up to the top rope um, for a moonsault, but Tozawa gets out of the way. Reggie lands on his feet anyway. Then Tozawa hits a Claymore of all things. Yeah, the Drew McIntyre Claymore from Tozawa here, but Tozawa doesn't even go for the cover. He doesn't go for the pin. So Tozawa instead applies a headlock. Now the crowd rallies big time behind Reggie, who just strikes out of the hold. When the crowd rallied behind him, it fired him up. When Tozawa was able to stay in control, though, with a really big strike for a 2 count. Reggie then gets up and counters a punch and hits a nice spin kick and like a capoeira flip kick. After that, Reggie then does a handspring lariat that looks pretty good, and then a crossbody for a 2 count. Decent little match here between the guys. Didn't mean to use the word little here, but yeah, they're two of the smallest guys on the roster, but they match up well against each other. The crowd chants again, Reggie, Reggie. Again, Tozawa avoids a moonsault, but again, Reggie landed on his feet. So really good stuff here. Tozawa's now hitting the Trouble in Paradise, Kofi Kingston's finisher, but that only gets 2 count. Reggie keeps fighting. Reggie then meets Tozawa up on the top rope, but Tozawa knocks Reggie off, and then Tozawa hits a really high leaping off the top rope, got really good height, senton for the 1-2-3. Your winner by pinfall is Akira Tozawa, and Tozawa avenges his loss from Main Event last week. So Reggie, on the other hand, had a pretty tough week. He sparked that whole flurry for the 24/7 title, but never even got it once himself. Meanwhile, Akira Tozawa had the titles for only a couple seconds, but still, he had a better week than Reggie, then beat Reggie here. So that's Tozawa's first singles match of the year, or first singles win of the year. So let's see if he can get a little bit more momentum going forward in for the second half of the year. Now it's a recap time. If you're not familiar with the main event show, it's two exclusive matches that are taped before Raw, and then the rest of the show is main event. Recaps. But you pretty much always get, thus the name main event. You get to see pretty much whatever the main event of SmackDown was, and then whatever the main event of Raw was. So that's kind of where the main event name of this, it's a recap show. They'll put it on the same channels as, uh, like, say, maybe in India or something. They might have this on the same channel as SmackDown and Raw, and then they'll play it in between there, the kind of, just to remind people what happened, or if you missed it or whatever. So that's what it's all about. And so we also got to see the last 2 weeks of the Maximum Male Models collection over on SmackDown. Then we saw the SmackDown main event, which was Angelo Dawkins versus Jimmy Uso. You can go find, I do have all the Raw and SmackDowns reviewed on this channel, so go check those out if you want to actually hear my thoughts on all this stuff. But yeah, also in that match in SmackDown, we found out Jeff Jarrett, of all people, will be the special referee at SummerSlam in the Usos versus Street Profits tag team title match. So that should be a pretty. The only reason is that Jeff Jarrett's from Nashville and SummerSlam's in Nashville. If you're wondering why the heck is it Jeff Jarrett. So anyway, then we see the recap of last week on Raw, where Becky Lynch cost Bianca Belair to lose the Carmella by countout, and then we go to this week's Raw, where Becky was talking about saying that she has a title match at SummerSlam. And we see the Raw Women's title match from this week, Bianca versus Carmella. So they tell us on Raw next week in Madison Square Garden in New York City, it'll be the 20th anniversary in WWE for a celebration of that for Rey Mysterio. So also on that big New York City Raw, the Raw right before SummerSlam, Roman Reigns will be there. So make sure you check out my review this Monday. I'll be on as soon as Raw ends live. I'll be here to let you know what happened. That sounds like a really big event. We might see the return of Edge. We might see Dominic join the Judgment Day. All kinds of wild things have the possibility of happening there. So also, I'll be here Friday for SmackDown if you're interested on SmackDown. So anyway, it's time for our second of two matches, and this was a nice developing story arc going through main event through the last few weeks. So Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali angered Veer, if you remember, on the 4th of July Raw, kind of showing that they're friends, and a partnership has been developing between the two. Ali then tried and failed to beat Veer on main event that's later that week. The next week on main event, Ali brought Cedric down to the ring for their match. Ali had better luck in that one, beating Tozawa last week. So Ali and Cedric looked like they were having a ton of fun together. So now we get to see them on main event this week. Cedric and Ali will team together. So they are going to fight the former Raw Tag Team Champions, Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. But going back to Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, they were, remember, on 205 Live, the heart and soul of 205 Live. And this will be the first time they team together since 2018 on 205 Live. And in that particular match, it was against Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese, who are both in AEW right now. So that's pretty interesting. Cedric then beat Mustafa Ali, if you remember, for the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania 34. It may have been the pre-show, but it was still at the big event, and everybody in attendance saw it. And a lot of people around the world watched the pre-show too. So that was a big deal for them when Cedric beat Mustafa for the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania 30. So anyway, Chad Gable beat Ali in a singles match on Raw last month. So these two have been against each other recently. And if you remember, I didn't, but I looked it up back in 2019. There was a short-lived tag team between Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable when he was Shorty G. So that was just before Chad Gable teamed up with Otis, and then Ali formed it wasn't Redemption. Why can't I think of it? Retribution? Cedric has a bad record this year: 4 wins, 18 losses in 2022. Mustafa Ali is 5 wins, 10 losses, and Alpha Academy as a team is 11 wins and 28 losses. So all 4 guys looking for a win here on main event to put the momentum or in their side. So Alpha Academy come out first, the really big boost from the crowd. Then Cedric and Mustafa come out together. They're wearing matching purple. They come out to Ali's music. Cedric is so fired up that he almost trips and falls running up the stairs. That was pretty funny. So by far, Otis is the largest man in this match. The other three are kind of around the same size. Cedric tries to play around with Otis at the start. Those two will start out this tag match. Excuse me. Otis then shoves Cedric down really hard. So that makes Cedric take the match a little more serious now. Cedric uses his agility and speed to just evade attacks from the big man. But then Cedric plays around again, like kind of like a child. I don't know what he was doing, but Otis takes advantage of this, hits him, and tags in Chad Gable. Chad then quickens the pace and hits a nice back elbow. Cedric rolls around, but then hits a head scissors and an arm drag. So Cedric was looking good there. Mustafa Ali now tags in, and him and Cedric hit a very innovative double team move on Chad. Ali and Cedric would be a fun tag team on Raw, but that's if we ever bring back the tag division. It seems like the entire tag division on Raw and SmackDown has just completely stopped, other than the Street Profits versus Usos feud, which is a little bit ridiculous. As we go to an ad break here. So when we come back from the ad break, if you remember, there was that big double team move by Ali and Cedric, but now Chad Gable's in complete control over Cedric Alexander. Chad is destroying Cedric's knee with he had a dragon screw leg whip a couple times and a knee breaker once or twice. So what the heck happened during the break to cause all of this? But we never find out. Anyway, Otis tags in and Chad slingshots Cedric into the arms of Otis, who just slams Cedric down. Cedric's in big trouble now. Otis hits a few more shots and then a running splash from the mat, just from the standing position. That almost has the win, but he doesn't go for the pin. He goes up to the middle rope, does Otis. Otis tries to hit a splash, a Vader bomb off the middle rope, but Cedric avoids disaster and gets out of the way. Ali and Chad both tag in now. Ali kicks Otis right off the apron right when he ran in, then hits a nice rolling neck breaker back into the ring onto Chad Gable. Great flurry there by Mustafa. Chad then tries to fight back, but eats an elbow, then a tornado DDT. Great stuff here from Ali. Otis comes in to try and stop the pin. He does. Cedric comes in now, and they get Otis thrown out of the ring, or into the ring post, I should say. Then both Cedric and Mustafa stand on the back of Otis and hit a superplex on Chad Gable off the top rope while they were standing on Otis's big back. That was awesome. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. So Cedric dives. Otis has gone to the outside now. Cedric dives on top of him, and Ali goes to the top rope, looking to end this match with a 450 splash. But Chad Gable gets out of the way. Chad then hits his big Chaos Theory rolling German suplex, which looks a little iffy, but usually that move's awesome, and he doesn't get to hit it very often. So that kind of stinks that it wasn't smooth transition on that one. So he doesn't get all of it, but it still looked pretty good. Cedric tries to come and help, but Otis just simply grabs his leg and pulls him back out of the ring. Otis tags in now, and they hit a double power bomb off the middle rope onto Ali for the 1-2-3. Your winners by pinfall are Alpha Academy. So I have to ask, what the heck happened to Cedric Alexander? He dove to the outside when Otis pulled. He dove to the outside on the Otis, and then Otis pulled him from his legs to the out. Like, that's not like that. That was he like Cedric never got hit with the move, so um like nothing to knock him out or make him too woozy to come and help. So I definitely blame Cedric Alexander for that loss, allowing the big double team and not being there to break up the pin. So they've definitely got some things to work on with their chemistry and timing. Cedric and Mustafa, remember, they haven't teamed in almost 5 years. So meanwhile, Alpha Academy has, what was it, like almost 40 or 50 tag team matches this year alone. So that's what got Alpha Academy the win here. The last segment of main event is the main event of Raw. We saw Miz TV with Logan Paul, and those two will fight each other at SummerSlam. So SummerSlam's a week from this Saturday. The latest rumors is that WWE themselves don't really like what's going on at SummerSlam. So we might see some major changes. Make sure we might see something on SmackDown. So watch SmackDown too if you're interested. But on Raw, for sure, at Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world, the home of WWE, it's going to be a big Raw. And it's the 20th anniversary of Rey Mysterio being in WWE. Edge might return. Roman Reigns is going to be there. Maybe Brock will show up too. And we might find out something new about like changes in the SummerSlam event. So It's going to be a big one this Monday. Don't forget to tune in for that. I'll be here to review both SmackDown, Raw, and SummerSlam right when those end. Every time there's an event that ends, I'll be here. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get going. You guys have a great one, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.